Hello and welcome to the Bourbon Bear, and unfortunately the Bears now fall to 0-3 after an expected loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, and as the fire behind you symbolizes, we are very close to burning this down. But we'll break it down first and foremost with the Chiefs game, and everyone went into this game with the expectation that the Bears would lose, which did very clearly happen. But the one thing I really did think would happen would be that Justin put up a good game. And I didn't want to release this video Sunday night because I had to go look at the film. I was watching the game distraught. There is so much blame to go around. And I will say it right now, Justin has one more game to prove he's the guy. If he doesn't, officially off the bandwagon, because that performance of only putting up 99 yards, half of those being against backups, by the way, is just unbelievably atrocious. But let's break it down, what we saw in the game. Any positive takeaway? No. There were no positive offensive or defensively. DJ Moore dropped one very good pass that I thought would have been a big gain, but that was like the only exciting play the Bears had the entire time. The touchdown at the end, that's garbage time. I don't count it. The defense, again, stopped on the first drive, which actually made me optimistic watching it that maybe they'll keep it close. But that went right out the window. Consecutive drives with the Chiefs for touchdowns. It turned into a bloodbath. What makes it that bad is there's just nothing good you can say about this team. The defense, the offense, special teams, coaching, every facet of the game of football looks bad. And you can't... I got to drink to that one. Oh my God. Brought the bottle out here today because it's going to be a tough talk, but at this point, what can you expect moving forward? You're already 0-3, and statistically that means you're basically eliminated from the playoffs unless we go on some kind of tear. But even with an easy schedule, I know the Chiefs was the hardest one, everyone said, but there isn't a route to make the playoffs, number one. Number two, then are we just already rooting for a tank? And it feels like we are. We're here as Bears fans, coming into the year thinking maybe they'll sneak in, they'll go 9-8, 8-9, maybe get a random wild card 7 seed. Nothing this team has shown on either side of the ball just proves anything to what we thought would happen. And earlier on the podcast, I think it was Saturday before the game, we were talking about how this offense on paper should be so good. You could run Cole in the seam, you got DJ Moore to be whatever you need him to be. Darnell Mooney be the slot guy. Claypool maybe has a resurgence. Nothing has clicked. And it's almost mind-blowing. And I get it. The first excuse is going to be, well, the offensive line, the DBs, everyone's banged up. Injuries happen in football. Every team in the NFL right now has significant injuries, and they're still going on their own track. There is just no more defending this franchise. And it hurts, but it's true. Right now, you're going against an 0-3 Denver Broncos, who last year had probably a top 5 defense. I think statistically they were even closer to top 3. And they are road favorites against the Bears after giving up 70 points. And I know everyone's heard that in the news this week, and everyone's like, blah, 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 the Bears are so bad. If you don't come out of this game with a win, it's got to be blown up. And I don't even mean just the coaches, Justin. It's got to reset the button. Like, we're trying to get out of this hole, and last year we agreed, it was a hole. This is a team that had a terrible roster. They still managed to win 3 games. Looking at how we performed, I don't think this team wins 3 games. Which, granted, thank God Carolina is that bad because maybe we'll get 2 top 5 picks, which would be incredible, but what do you do? Like, what do you do? And this is me friggin' venting right now. What is the outlet here? What is the come to Jesus moment, just to turn around against the Denver Broncos? Maybe. We haven't seen it yet, but I have very little faith in it. And after week 4, if we go 0-4, then no, Justin's out. This is his one last shot. After the comments he made before the Chiefs game, I really thought he was going to put up a better fight than he did. He didn't. He threw for 99 yards, an interception, and a touchdown. And the touchdown came in garbage time. Not even going to count that. But then we turn to the defense. Eberflus, you defensive-minded genius. We have 1 sack through 3 games. You have 2 turnovers that came in garbage time. I'm not going to count those in the stat sheet. Just terrible. You don't blitz? Okay, fine. That's your strategy? Cool. Then get a sack. Get some kind of pressure. Or blitz. You change it. Oh my God, it's all about the inability for this team to adjust to anything. Anything. Offensively, defensively, it just makes no sense. And then we turn to the run game. So the Bears, every player rushing on the Bears averaged over a 4 yards per carry average. But we don't run the ball. We run the ball, 15 times a game at most. And those not including Justin's designed runs, which are being atrocious this year. But going back to the point, he's so much better when you let the pocket collapse, and he was still that same robotic self. And I just can't wrap my head around it because I had just so much more hopes for him. And this is literally the last week. I'll even partially, now I'm not even defending him. But the blame game goes around. You watch the tape, you see these receivers aren't getting open. And it's hard as a quarterback in the NFL to throw the ball into double coverage wherever you have to. But if you actually go watch other channels that break down the footage, it was just an offensive nightmare. No one was open. The line was banged up. I get it. But just nothing works. Nothing on this team works. And you watch literally any other NFL franchise. I don't know if it's luck or what, but they still put up points. And we just can't do it. We put them up in garbage time half the time. That's it. We have maybe one good drive the first half, then maybe, something goes our way in the middle of third quarter, but there is just no sustained success for this team on offense. And then defensively, third down coverage, again, nightmare fuel watching the Chiefs game is what it is. At this point, I'm just so completely undersold with defense. You had TJ Edwards make 17 tackles on Sunday. 17. Tremaine was, I think, next with 8. That's just how much the Chiefs just dominated you. They're really just controlling you. All these weak zones we play, and there's a fantastic breakdown of our defensive backfield and linebacker core of what they're covering. They're covering grass. Change it up, Foles. Eberflus. God, not Foles. Change it up, Eberflus. Like, my God. Watching that tape, I was just appalled. You have 3 guys guarding no one that are in the middle of the field. Yeah, Mahomes going to throw the edge. No one's there, so why wouldn't you? And they just don't adjust at all. There's no creativity. There's no pressure. There's just nothing to root for in this defense. And now you're banged up by injuries. Your entire secondary is basically hurt right now. But what do you want them to do? There's no pressure. You've got 1 sack on the year. They can't control a game. You need to win that up front. And that's where you have to get creative. Maybe call more blitzes. Maybe call a corner blitz. Something to throw them off. But no, all vanilla. Just vanilla. That's the best way to put it. A vanilla defense that Patrick Mahomes can just tear apart. And again, the 2 interceptions, I'm not counting that in the stat sheet. That's just a backup quarterback. It's a mess. But now we turn on to the Denver game. So you look into Broncos team that just gave up 70 points. And I still think the Broncos have a decent defense. I think Miami might be way better than anyone thought they'd be. But I just don't see how you win this game. You're at home. You get that advantage. If the fans start booing in the second half, though, what's the home field advantage? That's just you getting ripped on for being bad. It's almost a disadvantage at this point, but I actually thought it would be more of a disadvantage if they played in Kansas City and played well when they weren't getting booed because obviously the Chiefs fans were having the time of their lives. They probably had a better environment there than they did in Soldier on week 1. So I digress, though. What do we think is going to happen in the Bears-Broncos game? And I'm going to have another podcast coming out Saturday to go in a way deeper dive on it. But, again, this is probably the one because last week we thought the Bears would cover. It's probably somehow the Bears cover. And it makes no sense to them. But at this point, no. This team is trash. Nothing is going right from any standpoint of a football game. So why do you think they'll win? Because I don't. At this point, you might as well root for them to lose because there's no right to win, number one. And number two, you almost need them to lose. This team is officially becoming a tank bowl team. And if they lose week 4, it's on. The tank's on. To literally root against the Bears the entire season. The only positive of the offseason moves, though, is the fact that we can root against Carolina too, any team playing them. So maybe we will have these 2 highly touted picks. But even the Arizona Cardinals, who are missing their starter quarterback and have just a terrible roster on paper, beat the Cowboys. So the NFL is so weird that those things can happen, but looking at the Bears team, I just don't see it happening. And I'll never understand, are we cursed as a franchise or what it's going to be, but oh my God. So just a quick Luke's thoughts on the game, though. I think the Broncos are going to put up points on us. I think it's probably going to be 40. and that's terrifying to think about. But Russ, the one thing I guess to discredit him, has not had good luck in Soldier Field. The only counter argument, though, is the fact that this Bears secondary is so banged up that I just don't think you can stop the deep ball, intermediate routes. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong. Because if they do win this game, and it's hypothetical Luke here, maybe they show us something that this team can be salvaged. But again, it's almost like winning is going to hurt more than help. Just because really, and I'm not a college football guy by any means, but all this hype I'm hearing about Caleb Williams is fantastic. I know people are saying, maybe he doesn't come to the Bears. He doesn't want to be on a terrible franchise, which at this point I would chalk this up as a terrible franchise. But it is what it is. So going into a little bit more comments, though, about the coaching staff, Eberflus had the balls to say, I can see us almost being there. I might have misquoted that, but we're getting there, maybe he said. How can you say we're getting there? What positive did you see in that game to tell you were getting there? Nothing. This guy is a fraud. I'm sorry. I've been, anti-Flus for a long time, but he's not the guy. I'm not going to say Justin's not the guy. I'm not defending Justin. He looks bad. He looks very bad. I'm not going to give him any benefit of the doubt. This was the year he had weapons. You can say the line's injured. No more excuses. You're bad. You need to get good or else you're gone, because that's what's going to happen. But Eberflus just seems to be like a fraud now. Tampa game, he did a little bit better of a job adjusting the defense. The Chiefs, he did nothing. It was just so vanilla that you can't bring in a guy who is a defensive-minded coach and just have a terrible defense back-to-back years. No. I'm out. He's got to be fired by the end of the year. Maybe he turns around and makes the playoffs. I'll look like an idiot. That's fine by me because I'll be happy then. But no, he is not the guy to lead this team. Oh, my God. And now we turn to the elephant in the room, Ryan Poles. I have a drink for this one, too. I was the biggest supporter of Poles' moves that he's made for this Bears team. But now we look at it a year and I guess now 4 weeks later, I'm just not seeing results. And I don't get me wrong, he's not going to get fired. You don't fire a GM year 2 or even year 3. I think you give him at least a chance after year 3, then I think we get into some muddy waters, right? Say it's comprehensible. But all of his picks and all of his offseason moves, just nothing out of him. And again, I think Britzker is one of the best safeties in the NFL. Unfortunately, he's been illness or hurt, whatever it is. But everyone he's brought in has just been terrible. His draft picks, Braxton I thought was actually solid, but now he's in the IR, and he was having a rough year to start the year. I just don't see it. Maybe this guy just doesn't have the eye we thought he did. And don't get me wrong, I love the trade, the number 1 pick to get DJ Moore, because that gave Justin Fields some more excuses, but even DJ Moore's not looking that good. I know he had a 100-yard game against Tampa, but drop balls this game. I think you got to get more targets. I think even if you were to get a quarterback in the first overall pick, he's a valuable piece to keep, but I just don't see this offense having any luck. Unless Justin really can turn a corner, this franchise just needs to start over. And this is a true reset. Like, everybody's gone. No more, I guess, not even excuses, because we already had excuses when we brought in Poles. But I think I'm speaking for every Bears fan here when we just say, the fire behind you. If we lose against the Broncos, you got to burn it down. And a win against the Broncos still hurts, though. It's just nothing can go right for this franchise. Oh, my God. But, again, we'll have another episode coming out later this week. There's not a lot to say, guys. The Bears stink. Justin stinks. Eberflus stinks. Getsy stinks. All right, sorry, I didn't even come on Getsy yet, though, before my last comments here. His play calling at this point, you could have some random guy who plays Madden pretty well call better route trees for these wide receivers. The Chiefs were ahead of everything, and maybe Justin was just giving up, what it was, but just nothing works in this passing game. And again, you can blame Justin all you want. Getsy's just sneaking to blame. Receivers were covered nearly every play, and you have weapons. Oh my God, just every hire the Bears make is it's unfathomable, and it's just scary. That's all I have for today, though. Had a vent. Bear down. God bless the Bears. God save the Bears.